I don't ever hear anybody saying, I wish I hadn't homeschooled, but I hear a
Yeah.
whole lot of people saying, I wish I hadn't put mine in public school.
There's so many parents who just feel like they don't have what it takes to homeschool, whether married or not. But especially for the single parent who just feels like, I just don't have it. I don't have what it takes. I don't have the patience. I don't have, the resources. I don't have the money. I don't have what it takes to be able to homeschool my kids. Share what you would share if I was sitting across the table from you and I just said, Kathy, you know what? Homeschooling is a great idea. I think I should do it, but I just can't. I just don't have what it takes. What would you say to that mom?
I would say you can do it. I would encourage them that yes, you can. And, today's resources for homeschoolers are incredible. If you've ever been to a homeschool
Mm-hmm.
convention, the sky's the limit, but you don't have to pay for it. I mean, you can actually find it for free online. I like to say, my son, we made it through high school math with Mr. McLogan, who is a YouTube channel teacher, a high school teacher that would
Wow.
record all of his math lessons for free, and that's how we made it through through high school math. There are
Wow.
so many resources out there. You are not alone, and in fact,
Yeah.
there's so much good material out there. The books, when your children get to a certain point, let me go back, when in the early years, and I'm an degreed elementary teacher, and so I can tell you this with confidence that you and anybody else can teach those early basic reading, writing, and
Mhm.
arithmetic skills that they need. You can do it. And when they get a little bit older in the middle grades, they're going to want to do it. The material is so self sufficient, they can almost do it independently. My children in those
Yeah.
ages had a notebook, and we had dividers in it, and there was a subject divider. For every divider there was a subject, label. And so I put the material behind each subject because we did have to do homeschool on the go sometimes when I was at church working,
Yeah.
and they really could do it. You can read it, they could follow the example, and they could do it. They are smart, they are versatile, they're going to get it. Don't worry. And also, in the older years, like high school, when I felt a little bit less adequate to teach some of those subjects, we would take advantage of homeschool co-ops. And I usually would
Hmm.
try to find, because in our homeschool co-op, there were teachers who also had become homeschool moms. So if I was going to pay, I usually tried to make sure that it was somebody that I knew that had experience in that subject area. We didn't have the money to do a lot of the electives or anything like that. We did that on
Yeah.
our own. But yes, you can, put the money toward subjects like math. My son went through, math courses all the way up. He's great in math with a high school math teacher that had turned homeschool mom, and same for some of the sciences. So you can absolutely do it. And I'll tell you, it's absolutely worth it. I don't ever hear anybody saying, I wish I hadn't homeschooled, but I hear a
Yeah.
whole lot of people saying, I wish I hadn't put mine in public school, now that they're dealing with,
Right.
so many issues as a result of the influence that they were around in public school. So you can do it, you need to do it, and there are many, many resources out there that are going to help you do it.
Yeah. I love that. We talk a lot about that on the podcast, how God just always provides a way. I mean, he is so very faithful, and there are so many resources. We've talked about that on several different episodes, where there are tons of resources that we have access to. The one that off the top of my head that I think about is Easy Peasy Homeschool. And they have every subject for every grade, and it's all free. And it is a Christian online curriculum. And so you can teach your kids that way. I mean, there just are so many resources out there for us today. Praise God, because 20 years ago, that was not available to homeschool parents. And so I'm so grateful for
That's right.
God's provision in that way.
Yes. And, also within our homeschool little community, we would exchange books sometimes. Let me borrow yours
Hmm.
because your child had this one,
Yeah.
last year, and mine's having it this year. So I mean, God will make a way, like you were saying, and you don't have to have a huge bank account in order to be able to homeschool.
Homeschool Insights is sponsored by CTC Math. If you're looking for a great online math program, visit ctcmath.com and try it for free. For more great homeschool inspiration and resources, listen to the Schoolhouse Rocked podcast every Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday.